Now available in paperback. Those who refuse the gift of eternal life are condemned to wander in the darkness of eternal night. Get your copy of Eternal Night at online booksellers today. This is going to be my final video on Megan Thee Stallion and her arguments regarding black women not receiving protection. And I'm going to ask a critical question of Megan Thee Stallion and her followers. What happened to all of the black males in your community who many of these women raised in these single mother households? And the reason why I asked that critical question is because back in the 1960s and the 1970s, when black women sided with the white feminist movement and the leftist welfare state, we had black women proposing that they were strong and independent, they did not need a man, they could do bad all by themselves, and they could be the father and the mother, and that a woman could raise a boy to become a man. Now, that last statement is the one I really want people to focus on, because we've had 2 to 3 generations of black males raised in these single mother households, and these women were supposed to be able to raise these boys to become men. And if these women were supposed to have raised these boys to become men, then we have to ask the critical question, why aren't they doing their job and protecting the black women inside of these black communities? Because you would think a black male who is raised by the strong, independent black woman who said she could raise a boy into manhood, he would be the first one on the front lines providing protection to most of today's modern black women. So again, I have to ask the critical question, where are all of these black males who came out of these single mother households, and why aren't they providing protection to all of these black women out there? And the answer to that question is these guys aren't providing protection to the modern day American black woman, because these guys out here do not understand their role as a man, because they learned manhood from women. And because these males learned manhood from women, they did not learn their role as a man under God's natural order from a man. They learned what a woman thought she saw from the outside. And usually what happened is, with most of these guys, is they learned their model for behavior from the woman, and that's why we don't have males who know how to do their role as a man. Moreover, we have many of these men who have learned how to submit to female authority figures, and because they have learned how to submit to female authority figures, they do not look to be leaders in the community, and they don't look to be stewards under God's natural order who take responsibility for their home, take responsibility for their family, and take responsibility for their community. Because if these men had learned about their roles as men under God's natural order, they would learn how to be responsible stewards over their communities, and they would learn that they, as the heads of household, they have a role in the community, not only to be economic providers, but providers of protection for those weaker than they are, like the women and the children. So in a traditional household with a mother and a father, a boy learns about his role as a man because he sees his father participating in that role as a responsible steward under God's natural order providing for his family economically, but also providing protection for that family with his presence and with his authority. So he provides authority and he provides security and protection for the family. And when the boy sees the father providing this role in the community, then he learns why it's important for him to provide that same service to his family and other families in the community. Unfortunately, in the black community, we had many black women who wanted to side with the white feminist movement because they wanted to be like white women, not understanding that the feminist movement was used subversively to undermine the black community and undermine the black economy. So the black woman thought that by buying into feminist rhetoric, she would be able to rise up the social ladder and she would be able to be just like those white women, not understanding that feminism was a Trojan horse used to try to sabotage the black community and the black economy so it wouldn't compete with the rest of the world. So your black woman thought she could buy into this idea of feminism and she could raise this boy to become a man. Unfortunately, without that father in the home to model manhood for him and to teach him essential male life skills and essential male survival skills, this male did not learn about his role as a man in God's natural order. This boy did not learn about being a responsible steward and his responsibilities to the Most High living God and his fellow neighbors in his community. And he did not learn about his role as being a head of household, a leader, an authority figure, and he did not learn about his role as a provider of protection. So this male did not learn this directly because his father wasn't in his life, and because he saw his mother providing the leadership in the home, and he saw his mother providing the protection in the home, he learned how to submit to the females in his community. And when he learned how to submit to the females in his community, what happened was you wound up with nobody there to protect the black woman, because the boy learned that the woman was going to protect him, and that's why the woman has no protection right now. And these males don't know how to protect because they have learned how to submit to female authority figures. And this is why we see the male in the black community, these Pookies and these Ray Rays, basically in the role of the female in a lot of cases. And instead of these guys being warriors that are feared like in other communities, where if you go into a white community, a Hispanic community, a Arab community, or an Asian community, they let those males let you know that they are in charge, and they don't take any crap from anyone, especially interlopers or trespassers in their community, and they draw a hard line in that community. But the black males, because they have been conditioned to be soft and in some cases effeminate, these males do not have any understanding of their roles as men, and that's why most people do not take these males very seriously, and they see these males as weak males. So these males are not the kind of men who will make a step to protect their community. Instead, they are in the background passively, and they are practically in no shape or form any threat to anybody at all. This is why you will see your Pookies and your Ray Rays standing outside of the Arab-owned grocery store at 6 a.m. while that man is working in there making lots of money. And this is why you'll see the same Pookies and Ray Rays standing outside of that store as one of these black women are getting beat up and doing absolutely nothing. And this is why you will see many of these same Pookies and Ray Rays standing outside as these same black women are punched in the face by these Korean hair weave store owners or beaten up and knocked in the street by one of these other foreign store owners, because these foreign store owners see that the males are weak and that there are no consequences for their actions, and because they feel that there is no male to retaliate against them or punish them for doing any harm to the women, these foreigners feel like they can just roll into a black community without any respect or any regard for that black woman, because they see male authority as the standard for a community being protected. And when they see the male authority not being there, that makes them believe they can practically do whatever they please in these communities, because they see that the males, like your Pookies and your Ray Rays, are extremely submissive, and they see these Pookies and Ray Rays who will talk tough to another black man, but when they get in the face of a white man, a Hispanic man, an Arab man, an Asian man, or an Indian man, these males become extremely docile, these males become extremely submissive, and these males start deferring to that male authority. And this is what was conditioned in them by their single mothers, because their single mothers were naturally submissive, and the single mother taught the boy how to submit to other male figures. So instead of teaching him how to respect male authority, because if he had a father, he would learn to respect male authority, but stand up on his own as a man, these males learn how to submit to male authority, and they learn not to go out here and challenge those who would do harm to their community. Instead, they learn to submit to these men, and when they learn to submit to these men do not see them as equals to them. No, they see these males as extremely weak, and that's why they sit there and show disrespect to the black woman, because they don't see the black male as a man. They see these black males, these Pookies and Ray Rays, as children, and they don't see them as any sort of threat, because these men are completely submissive to the whole concept of white supremacy. If any other man challenges them, what happens is they know there's not going to be any pushback from that black man. Now, this same black male who was raised by this single mother, while he is submissive to the white man, the Hispanic man, the Asian man, the Arab man, and the Indian man, he has all sorts of anger towards another black man. And this same guy, this Pookie and this Ray Ray, he will go out here with a 9mm pistol or a box cutter looking to fight and kill another black man for basically walking by him and giving him a look, or going out and just saying something to somebody else and wasn't even directed to him, or some other slight out here, and he'll go out here looking to go out here and kill that other black man, or he'll go out here and be bickering and arguing with another man online, but he won't have any anger directed at those people outside of his community who disrespect his black woman. And that really shows us how weak the black males are, but these black males are weak because the black female who said she could raise a boy into manhood really failed at her job, and this same black female who wanted to say she could raise a boy to become a man then wants to start complaining about how she doesn't have any protection in her community. Well, again, the reason why you don't have any protection in your community is because you decided to side with the white feminist movement and the white welfare state. And as you wanted the economic security of the welfare state, you didn't think critically about the whole concept of who would be providing you protection. Because under the welfare state, the police aren't going to protect the black woman. No, they protect the interest of the state. And the person who was protecting the black woman, the black man, you pushed out of the community and you prevented him from being able to teach the boy these important and essential male life skills of being not only an economic provider, but a provider of protection. Because a man and a group of men, they provide protection to the women, and they provide protection to the women simply by their presence. For example, when you have a husband who walks his wife to the bus stop, that sends a message to the other males in the community that that woman is protected. And when that man takes that woman to that bus stop or the train station, it sends a message to all of the people in the community: this woman is under the protection of a man, and that this man is standing guard for this woman to make sure that she's secure when she's either going to school or wherever she's going. And that's something that is done, again, in Muslim communities and Jewish communities. Those men make sure that those women are protected by being that chaperone and sending that message to those other men out there: this woman is protected, this woman is respected, and you need to show this woman respect wherever she goes, because she is under my protection, under my authority, and you need to respect this woman because you're going to have to deal with me if you go after this woman. That's the message that is sent by men to other men simply by their presence. And when those men see that man with that woman, they give not only that man his respect, they give that woman respect as well, because that is a unwritten social message that this woman is being given protection. But that protection is given to that woman because she has shown respect to that man, and she has shown that she's going to submit to that man's authority in order to receive that security. And that's something your black woman over the last 2 generations has not really learned, because she's bought into many of these white feminist narratives that tell her she can go out here and be independent and strong on her own. Unfortunately, that leaves her vulnerable to being taken advantage of by predators like these guys out here who are the thugs, like the bad boys, the mashers. These guys provide a threat to the black woman, but she wants to support these guys who don't give her any protection at all. And what's really sad is many of these males are raised by the black woman, and these black males think that they are better men than the men who were raised by a father. And many of these same males, these Pookies and these Ray Rays, who these black women won't ask about protection, these are the same males who are submitted to her and are sitting on her sofa playing PlayStation, on the internet beefing and arguing with another man. But the black woman won't ask him, why aren't you protecting me? And even though he's terrorizing your community. That's another critical question black women should be asking themselves. Why is it that these males that I raised are not in the business of protection? Why are they in the business of terrorizing the community? And the reason why they don't want to answer that question is because they raised these males who are out here who cannot provide any of the standards of a man, cannot meet the duties of a man, and do not provide your black woman with the things that a man provides. Now, she said she could raise a boy to become a man, but this boy that she raised is incapable of doing the things a man is supposed to do, providing for his family, providing protection for his family. And she's sitting there talking about, where is my protection? Well, you said you could raise this boy to become a man, but who was there to teach him how to be a man? Another critical question your modern day black female needs to ask, because again, the teaching about being a protector is something only a man can do, and only something a man understands, because a man under God's natural order is a steward. A man under God's natural order is a head. A man under God's natural order is a leader. A man under God's natural order is an authority figure. And a man under God's natural order understands his role, because he has a connection to the living God, and he is accountable to Jesus, who reigns over the earth, and he is accountable to the Most High living God. So he understands he has a responsibility to powers higher than himself, Jesus, who reigns over the earth, and the Most High living God. So he understands he has a responsibility to higher powers and is accountable to higher powers. But the boy who grows up in the single mother household, he doesn't understand his role. He doesn't understand anything, because he submits to the woman. And because he submits to the woman, then what he learns is not that he has accountability to the living God, but he learns how to be accountable just to women. And many of the women, they really don't hold him accountable for anything. They coddle and shelter this boy, and they give him passes for his irresponsible behavior. And this is why he will stand outside of an Arab corner store at 6 a.m. while they're making money and won't be thinking about working. Instead, he's thinking about getting on a cell phone to beef and argue with a man online, or he's thinking about trying to go fight some dude who said that he didn't like his sneakers or took the last Little Debbie snack cake. He's looking to fight those guys, but the enemies who attack the black woman, this guy is too scared to confront them, because he's learned to see them as more powerful as himself, because he's been taught by his mother to submit to these men, instead of seeing these men either as an equal to them or somebody they should challenge, because they are the authority in the community. And he doesn't know how to assert his authority as a man, because he is a weak male, and he has been made into this submissive beta male because he was raised in this single mother household. And instead of him looking to protect his black women in his community, he's looking to be protected by the black women in his community. If you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my men's issues books, like The Man Crisis, that show you why these males become dysfunctional, you can find that book on Amazon.com, along with my other men's issues books, like Stop Simpin' and Mangina's The Misadventures of Captain Save-'em and Stop Simpin' in the Workplace. You can also find those books on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.